Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we will discuss the repurchase agreements. The repurchase agreement topics falls under the sales revenue recognition topics, because when we book a sale, that's the best thing we can do for a company, book revenue. The issue sometimes is it's not binary. It's not whether it's a sale or not a sale. Sometimes we have to look at the details of the transaction to determine whether it's a final sale, not a sale, maybe it's something else, maybe it's a finance transaction. And those type of situation exist when we have something called repurchase agreement. So what is a repurchase agreement? Repurchase agreement exists when a seller transfers an asset to another person, a customer, while retaining either an obligation or the right to buy back the asset at a later date. So hold on a second. Did you make a sale? And if you make a sale, why are you promising to pay it back? So this is what a repurchase agreement is. Now, why do repurchase agreement exist? We will explain why. But we have to understand that the seller here is retaining some involvement, some control. And that's the whole purpose of the situation. Because in a sale, when you sell something, what's the assumption? The assumption is you let go. Let go means you give up control. Here, you're not giving up control because the seller maintain some sort of a continuity involvement. The transaction may not qualify as an immediate sale for revenue recognition purposes. So these type of agreement, they fall under three different categories when we have those repurchase agreement. We could have a forward contract, we could have a call option, we could have a put option. So we have to understand what each one entails in order to understand the accounting behind it. When we have a forward contract, the seller here is required. Required means must. Requires mean they must. They must repurchase this asset. So I will sell you my cell phone, I will sell you my laptop, I will sell you my office building. Then I am going to buy it back from you. I must buy it back from you. This is a forward contract. And we're going to see what would happen if you have a forward contract. Or the seller will have a call option. You have the right, but not the obligation to repurchase the asset. Hey, look, if I want to buy it back from you, I can for a certain price that we agreed on. It's a call option. I can do it. I don't have to do it. Who has control? The seller has control. I can repurchase. I don't have to repurchase. And the third option is a put option. The customer has the right to require you, the seller, to repurchase the asset. Let's assume I sold you my computer. At some point, you can come back, knock on my door and say, you got to buy it back from me. You have the right to do that. And if you have the right, I have the obligation to buy it back. So this is what we need to know. So who has the three types of instruments? Who holds the power, and what does the power entails? And this is what we will discuss in this session, because the accounting treatment depend on the specific terms of the repurchase agreement. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
My AI turns any lecture into a complete study system. You can create summary table, formulas, and example from each lecture. Flashcard builds from the lesson itself. A quiz build on the lesson. And as a bonus, convert any lecture into a portable short audio on the go. So it helps you with the retention. No noise, no generic responses, just clarity based on that specific lecture. Don't just watch, interact, test yourself, and retain the material using Farhat AI. Now go to farhatlectures.com now and see how the AI can help you understand, practice, and retain the material.
In this session, we'll focus again on the forward and the call option. In the next session, we will focus on the put option. So when a contract contains either a forward or a call option, now we know what forward and call. Forward you must, and call you have. As a seller, the seller evaluate the repurchased price compared with the original price. So what you do is this. You would look at how much you sold the asset for and how much you can or you have to buy it. Remember, it's either you can if it's an option, or you must if it's a forward contract. So you compare the original price that you sold this asset for to what price you have to buy it back. If the original price, the repurchase price is less than the original price, so the original price is higher than the repurchase price, you treat this as a lease. The arrangement is generally accounted for as a lease because the customer has effectively paid for temporary use of the asset. So let's assume you sold them a bulldozer for $100,000 and you can buy it back from them for $80,000. Guess what? You rented that bulldozer for a year or two, whatever the time, and you earned $20,000. So this is basically a lease. They're paying you rental income. This is actually in actuality what happened. You sold them something for $100,000. You can buy it back for $80,000. You effectively rented it to them. How about the other situation where you sold it for $80,000 and you have to buy it back for $100,000? So you have a bulldozer, you sold it for $80,000 and you have to buy it back for $100,000. If that's the case, what did you do technically? Technically, what you did is you put up your bulldozer as a collateral. So you basically took out a loan. You gave them the bulldozer as a collateral. They gave you $80,000 now. You'll buy back the bulldozer back from them for $100,000. If the repurchase price is higher, you effectively have a finance, basically as if you went to the bank, put up that bulldozer as a collateral for a loan, for $100,000 loan. They gave you today $80,000. So it's treated as a financing arrangement. So let's talk about financing arrangement because basically the lease is easy. Just book the $20,000 over the period in which if it's a year or two, you would book the $20,000 over the 2-year period, the rental revenue. Let's dive a little bit more deeper into the financing arrangement. Under the financing arrangement, the seller continues to recognize the asset on its balance sheet. Remember, technically what we're doing is we put up this asset as a collateral. Although it shows like it's a sale, but it's still as a collateral. The cash received from the buyer, in quote, the buyer or the customer, is a liability, is a loan. And the difference between what I'm going to have to pay back and what I got today is interest expense over the financing period. So when would we recognize revenue? Revenue is recognized when they don't have to give it back to us and we technically buy it. We technically sold it to them. So revenue is not recognized until the repurchase right or the obligation expire or otherwise resolved. So we could have a revenue at the end in case they said they're keeping it, and you'd say, okay, now you have control over it. You have the control. We have revenue. So let's take a look at an example. On January 1st, Falcon Equipment sells a construction crane to Horizon contractor for $420,000. The contract grant Falcon the option to, so it's a call to repurchase the crane for $455,000. Call means I have the call whether I want to do it or not. So notice, if I'm going to buy it back, I'm going to have to buy it for $455,000. Otherwise, they'll just take it. It's done. So when would they take it? When is my revenue recognized? Indeed, I sold it for $420,000. When they take it and that's it, they don't give it back to me. That's basically what happens. So now let's see what happened here. So Horizon pays the full purchase price immediately. At year end, Falcon does not exercise its repurchase options. So we'll get the $420,000 and we're going to assume that we're not going to buy it back and the option expires. So let's see. Because the repurchase price is $455,000 greater than the selling price, the transaction is a financing lease. It's not a lease. It's a financing arrangement, not financing lease. It's a financing arrangement. It's a loan. So we debit cash, credit a loan for $420,000. Remember, if we want to buy back this crane, we have to buy it back at $455,000. So you have to buy it back for an additional $35,000 if we have to buy it back. Well, what's going to happen is this $35,000, what do you think we call this amount? Well, technically, this amount is the cost of money. This amount is the cost of money. Why? Because we can get our crane back, but we have to pay $35,000 in interest. So the $35,000 is interest expense. So over the period, let's assume this is 1 year. During the year, we debit, or whatever the period happens to be, we are going to increase interest expense $35,000, and we're going to increase financial liability for $35,000. Now remember, the financial liability, the ST account started at $422, and now we added to it $35,000 because of the interest. Now the liability is $455,000. When the option expires, because we will assume here that the option expires, it means we did not buy it back. But let's assume first we are going to buy back the crane. If we have to buy back the crane, it means pay them for $455,000. We debit financial liability. How much is it? $455,000, and we credit cash $455,000 if we bought back that crane. If we did not buy back the crane, in other words, we kind of don't want the crane, now guess what? Now we could recognize the revenue. We debit financial liability $455,000, and we increase revenue. Now it's a revenue. So basically what happened in this arrangement, we needed the money. We borrowed the money against the crane. Then we decided not to exercise to buy back the crane. So basically we sold the crane. Now you're gonna say, how much did we sold it for? We technically sold the crane for $420, because remember, we had an interest expense of $35. Although we got $455, remember, of those $455, we already recorded $35 of expense. So technically we sold the crane for $420. But the sale did not take place until the option expires, and we did not exercise the option. Therefore, we technically sold the crane. So remember the comparison. If the original selling price is greater than the repurchase, basically you have rental income. It's like a lease. You leased something, and the difference is your rental income or lease revenue. If the repurchase price is higher, which is what we work in this example, you have a financing arrangement. So you have to record interest expense. And if you decided to buy back the asset, that's fine. You buy it back, you settle the liability. If not, you technically sold this asset. So in this session, we looked at the forward and call option. In the next session, we would look at when we have a repurchase agreement with a put option. And what is a put option? A put option, when the buyer of that crane can come back and force you, the seller, to buy it back from them. They have the right to do it, and you have the obligation to do what? To comply. This is what we'll discuss in this session. What should you do now? Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional resources, simulations, exercises, multiple choice, true, false, AI, AI tools, AI exercises, AI flashcards, AI quizzes. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself, invest in your career. God bless, and see you in the next recording.